Well, sir, my name is Clint Hopping, and right now I live at the ranch with my dad, who you just spoke with. I'm a bullfighting instructor for Lyle Sankey, and I've been jumping around and running around those buck and shoots at Sankey Rodeo School since before I can remember, literally. So I've been around Lyle, I've been around the atmosphere all my life, and probably 4 years ago I started teaching the bullfighting. I also compete in other various events, and I've attended schools as a student numerous times, but right now Lyle really likes to bring me in for the bullfighting rather than the others. But and that's what we're at right now. We're at just a little practice pen, so getting ready to have a little practice. So
cool. So talk to me a little about what you do as a bullfighter, Clint. What are the things that you actually do? What are the skills that you have? And just kind of describe it to me, and also kind of tell me the danger that's involved in what you do.
Well, sir, there's a lot of people that have kind of a perspective of bullfighters as just clowns that tell jokes and they see them painted up. But these days, a bullfighter, and I think of myself as an athlete, and I'm there with my cleats on, and I'm in shape like my dad talked about, and I'm ready to perform. The bullfighter's responsibility is basically to protect the cowboy. He's there to, well, first and foremost, he's there to entertain the crowd. That's the whole point of a rodeo, is a performance. And second, he's there to protect that bull and make sure the bull is safe, and we take care of the animals. And then the third is to protect the cowboy. So when that bull rider gets bucked off and he's flying through the air, I move in between the bull and the bull rider, because as some of you had seen on TV or those bulls, they can be mean. So as soon as that bull rider comes off, they're looking for somebody to hook. And what I do is I try to distract that bull, give the bull rider an opportunity to get away. And if the day is grand, everything goes right, then we'll both get away. If it's necessary, then I'll take the shot. And if that means me taking a shot for the bull rider, then that's what it means, and I realize that going in. So that's a risk that we have to take each time we step in the arena. And a bull rider, he'll show up to a rodeo to get on one bull for 8-10 seconds in an evening, whereas we have to be there for all the bulls, whether it's 20 or 30 bulls in a night. We're there the whole time, putting our lives on the line each bull. So.
Yeah, and you also, you have a connection with these bulls, obviously. Describe that connection. I can only imagine. You look into those bulls' eyes. Explain that to me.
Well, I've had a few really great instructors as a student at Sankey Rodeo Schools, Corey Wall and Benny Patrick, just great athletes and great instructors. And watching them, I've really learned that those guys know a bull. You can see Corey Wall out in the arena, and he knows what a bull is going to do. It's almost like, I can't believe it. I'm like, Corey, anyway, so he'll be out there, and you can just tell he gets that bull to follow him. He'll distract him, and he knows where he's going to be at all times. And so that's something I've tried to mimic in watching my instructors. I've tried to really learn a bull's language and his body language, and you're right, there is a connection. It's hard to see just for the average fan or spectator, but when you're down in the buck and shoots and everything gets calm and smooth during that ride, it slows down. It feels like it's an eternity. It goes by real fast, but it feels like it takes forever. And you just get down, it slows down for you, and it's an awesome feeling. So you're definitely right. There is a connection there, but most people don't notice it. So I don't get that question a lot.
I just put myself in your position, and I was just imagining, you really have to know that type of animal, and really, and they're animals. You look into their eye. I don't know. I'm just curious. But another thing too is you have a big responsibility. You essentially have somebody's life in your hands. You're responsible. So talk to me about how that makes you feel. Having that responsibility of somebody else's life, essentially.
Well, that's a great question too. There's an interesting balance. I do take responsibility. When I'm hired on, I take on the responsibility of protecting that cowboy, protecting the bull again. But at the same time, I also have to remember at the end of the day, I didn't ask that cowboy to put his hand in the rope. I didn't ask him to come to this rodeo. You know, he chose to be a bull rider, so he needs to realize, you know, he realizes there's risks. But as a bullfighter, I'm going to give him my 110%. And as a professional, you know, that means performing at a certain level. So, yes, I have responsibility, and I'm going to do my best. But if doing my best means he or I maybe get hurt, that's part of the game. You know, this is a dangerous sport, so, you know, there are some injuries that are unavoidable. And if that happens, you know, I'm not necessarily going to feel guilty that, you know, I may feel bad that he got hurt, and I don't want anybody to, but what I'm saying is, you know, at the end of the day, he knows it's dangerous, I know it's dangerous. Hopefully we can both stay safe. So I'll do my...
He made his bed, you know what I mean?
Right, right.
What about, like, do you teach people? I know there's you know, at Lyle Sankey's rodeo, do you teach bullfighting as well? Like, you teach other people how to do what you do?
Yes, sir. Actually, and that's why I came on. I'm there to help the bull riding students. So I'll help fight with the bull riding students, but I'll fight for them. But I'll also teach a number of bullfighting students. So we'll be helping the bull riding students during that school during their session, as well as teaching a few bullfighters. And that's cowboy protection as well as freestyle. And freestyle is basically me fighting the bull without the bull rider in the picture. So it's the same moves, same concept, same proximity. You're in there in the bull's face, but it's just without the bull rider. So yes, sir, we do have students at usually all of our schools. Usually not as many as the bull riders. If, you know, say there's 20 bull riders, we may have 3, 4, or 5 bullfighters. So.
Is there like you're teaching me this. I'm wondering, is there a rivalry, or is there like is bullfighting or bull riding more prestigious or important to people than bullfighting, or is there a rivalry between the two?
Well, you know, you might assume that on one hand, but on the other hand, you've got to look at I've got a lot of power, I've got a lot of responsibility, so I would say there's a lot more respect rather than rivalry. You know, that bull rider, at times, his butt depends on my performance. So I'm going to be his best friend for about 20 seconds in that arena. So most of the time you see bull riders being really friendly with the bullfighters. And besides that, the whole atmosphere of a rodeo, even between competitors, between two bull riders, say they're neck and neck on the season standings, you know, they're still going to be buddies. They're still going to be helping each other out. You don't see a lot of, quote, rivalry in the arena. It's really kind of a brotherhood. Now, don't get me wrong. There's definitely times when guys butt heads. There's definitely emotions involved. There's definitely controversy, just like anything in life. But for the most part, as far as the bull rider bullfighter relationship, that's usually pretty safe to say respectful.
And talk to me a little bit about Lyle. You know, like, how is Lyle? You know, what do you think about Lyle and his personality and his approach to his school? You know. Well,
you know, Lyle is he's an interesting man. Just like my dad said, I liked how he said that he puts his pants on one leg at a time. But you know, a thought that came to mind is the difference between him and a lot of people is once he gets his pants on, a gold buckle holds him up. So, and Dad's right. There's a lot of things about world champions that make them different. They have to be, because there's not very many of them. But the thing about Lyle with the schools is, one thing I've noticed is it seems like each school, you know, he'll do 30 a year, and it seems like every school he will invest everything, you know, his mind, his emotions. For that weekend, those students have Lyle Sankey, and he cares about them. He you know, he does what it takes to teach them if they're willing to. You know, he doesn't go through the motions. It would be real easy for a normal person to go to, you know, if they're teaching day in, day out, it'd be real easy for them to, you know, a school here or there, just kind of go through the motions. Well, I've noticed with Lyle, we'll go to lunch, and he'll be talking to the instructors. Well, what about this student, Dylan? You know, he's doing really good, but his attitude sucks. What can we do to him? You know, should we talk to him? Should we do it? You know, and it's interesting, you know, his one break of the day where he should be just kicking back like most people do, we're discussing these students and how to make the school better. Another thing about Lyle is he doesn't like to take crap. You know, he doesn't like. He likes a coachable kid, but if he'll talk back, and for some reason there's always one kid at a school who just doesn't want to learn. You know, why pay the tuition if you don't want to learn? But it makes sense to you and me. But every school, it's inevitable. There's one or two of these kids there, and Lyle will come over and talk to him just like he does every student after the ride, after each ride. They'll come over and talk to him. Hey, you did this good and you did this bad. We need to work on this. And they'll just throw their hands up or something. and Lyle, he doesn't like to put up with that. So sometimes he will butt heads with some students. And for the most part, you know, he may go to an instructor and he'll do the same thing. He's not afraid to tell me or my dad or any of the other instructors, hey, you know, you're messing up. You need to change this, or this. Sometimes with a stern tone. And we'll do it, yes sir. And then another thing about him is, you go to the next day and he's forgotten about it. Whether it's with a student, instructor, I mean, some students, they'll apologize at the end of the school for something and he doesn't even know what they're talking about. Now sometimes he does, but that's one thing, you know, he's very professional in that respect when he deals with adults, students. But like I said, emotions can get into just like anything in life. So.
All right. Perfect, Clint. I think you did a great job. You can turn off the camera.